Spring is in the air at Global Voice Broadcasting. Fresh new shows are hitting the airwaves every day. Shows about all the things that matter to you in your life. Music, fashion, celebs, and more. It's all here, and it's getting better every day. Only at Global Voice Broadcasting. Welcome to the world of Cabarabia, the world where Broadway, jazz, comedy, and pop share the spotlight, and a 2-drink minimum. With your host, producer, director Clifford Bell, keeping the world safe for live performances in intimate settings on Global Voice Broadcasting.
And welcome back. Welcome back to Cabarabia on Global Voice Broadcasting, my little podcast that could, my weekly rumination on all things relevant to the nightclub experience. Very excited for our show today. We have one of my favorite people in the world here in the studio with me. Please welcome Ms. Shelly Goldstein.
Hello.
Hello, Shelly Goldstein.
Hello, Clifford Bell.
Shelly is returning to us. She's already been a guest once about 6 months ago, actually, almost 6 months to the day. She was part of a large show with a big panel discussion, which we'll mention a little later of why she was there that day. But Shelly is a very, very tall pillar in our little cabaret community.
Which is hard to do when you're 5'1".
In our little cabaret community. But so I wanted to give her her own full 50 minutes. And give her due. And Shelly is a very well-known humorist, cabaret singer, writer, performer. Shelly, let's see, I'm going to get all tongue-tied, but talking about Shelly, because all I can think of at the moment is her shoes. I want to pay a little homage to Wendy Williams and give a little shoe cam.
Are we going to start with the shoes?
I think so. We have to get a sense of.
There we go.
Shelly's Twitter handle is Groovy Shelly, and I think now you know why.
She's Groovy
Shelly.
There we go.
All right. So, it is appropriate that we see you in all your splendor there, because my earliest memory of you, I don't know that you even know this, is back in the original Cinegrill, right around, I think it's 2000. It was like right towards the end of 2000.
There, yeah.
But Michael Orland and I used to run a very popular open mic over there at the Cinegrill. And that was my first memory of you, and you were a very shy girl.
I was very quiet and very shy, soaking it all in.
You'd come in and you'd say, "I've written a song parody," and you'd get up and you'd knock everybody out with your hilarious song parodies. And then over the course of like the next year or so, you actually became the belle of the ball. You went from being this, in my perception, in my experience of you, a very introverted, shy, bookish sort, to all of a sudden a very vivid, hilarious, real, true entertainer in the old sense of the word. With your debut show, what was your first show called?
My first show. Well, there were two. There was. Gay Man Trapped in the Body of a Straight Girl.
Yes, indeed.
And then there were Songs for Lovers and Those They Dumped. Because I had been toying with the cabaret idea for a good, well, probably since the womb, but realistically, a good 10 years before I did it. And my message for the day is, don't wait. Do it. Just do the damn thing. And I had, at that particular moment in time, I was hired to write a cabaret act, which I had done for a few people. I wrote Lorna Luff's first cabaret act for her, for the Cinegrill.
Yes.
And a few other people's. And I had been asked by Sybil Shepherd, who I was writing a TV show for at the time,
about that.
To write her show. And as I was doing that for other people, I was just, I really have to get up and just do this and just get it out of my system. And at the time, my beloved Brendan encouraged me to so do. And I just thought, I'm going to get up and do it. And I booked the night before Thanksgiving at the Gardenia. Tom Rolla, bless his heart, put me in the room. I think he kind of thought, you know, it's the night before Thanksgiving. Who's going to be there?
Right.
You know the size of the Gardenia.
Yeah.
We had close to 90 people there. And I remember it was so jam-packed that dear Bruce Valanche came, and he had a date, and his date sat on the piano bench with Scott Harlan because there was no other room anywhere. And it went very nicely, and a lovely gentleman, Howard Bragman, came up to me after the show. I didn't know him very well at the time, and he said that he was giving he was sponsoring a benefit for Aid for AIDS in his lovely Hollywood Hills manse, and the entertainment at that party was going to be Michael Feinstein. And would I open up for Michael Feinstein?
Right.
How many women have gotten to open for Michael Feinstein?
All right.
I ask you.
Thank
you. So I did, and Michael was so lovely. I'll never forget. I was so nervous. I was so nervous because, you know, it was literally the second thing I'd ever done in a cabaret environment, and with him, you know, the best of the best of the best.
Right.
And I finished my little opening 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it was, and he came out and he sat down at a beautiful, you know, Steinway piano, and he just said and goes, you say Goldstein, I say Feinstein, I say Feinstein, you say Goldstein, Feinstein, Goldstein. And I just thought that was so sweet and so generous and so lovely, and I was so grateful to him for doing that. And things just came from that, you know, so it sort of snowballed into this other
Do you know how I
lovely
remember
life.
that night? My friend Brad Ellis was I was talking to him about something, and I said, "Do you want to go here, there, or the other place that night?" And he said, "Oh, I have to go see this girl, Shelly Goldstein, my friend, whoever it was."
Mark Evanier.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yes.
Said I have to go. He said, "I have no choice. I don't know her, but he says she's a must-see, so I'm going there."
And bless his heart, he
that's
came.
relatively unusual that Brad is led around like that, but I remember like it was yesterday.
And we became fast friends instantly.
Yeah.
With the brilliant Mr. Ellis.
Gabe, there's a picture I wanted to show just because I
Uh-oh.
think it's a cute picture.
Oh, Lordy, there we
there
go.
she is.
There's
More shoe
Groovy
cam
Shelly.
there.
More shoe cam, yes.
Right. All right, so let's dive in. This is my very first experience of your, you know, Shelly has a knack for parody lyric writing. That's one of her main canvases when she works in the medium of cabaret.
May I augment that statement?
Yes, please.
See, it's a little odd, but people think, you know, oh, you write parodies. And maybe this is a little cocky, but I like to think of myself as a lyricist, but as I don't write music, I just like, okay, well, I'll take, you know, Stephen Sondheim's, or I'll take Carole King's,
Right.
or I'll take Julie Stein, you know, because they're really wonderful. And
Right.
so far,
and until they stop you.
until their lawyers come at me with a club, I'm going to keep doing it, you know.
All right. Well, this is the first one I was ever aware of. This one, I remember you were doing it back in the day when I first met you.
Oh, Lord.
And it's one of your great ones. I actually still wake up sometimes in the morning. La la la. I won't give it
Don't-
away.
yes.
But Gabe, will you hit us with that first song, please?
I'm overwrought by under fives. I nipped up my part was bereft ever so slightly. It's hard to keep the scene alive when your third kidney on the left. We've all played that part too. Pardon me the name, pardon the cold. I've got the chops for any role. Just call my agent in the morning. Either just get my name upon that call sheet. Spielberg, just call my agent in the girls. And here's a subject fit to delve. Now think about this if you will, okay? How come De Niro's 92 and his last on-screen wife was 12? Why can't I get a sitcom deal? I'm fun, I'm cute, my tits are real. Oh, just call my agent in the morning, Jeffrey. For Stinger Shakespeare, I'd be Harvey. Just call my agent in the morning. I'll even work in drag. As long as it's for SAG, call me. ICM, CA, Carpe Diem, or in English, seize the fucking day, and put me in flights from Chad to China. Cabarabia, Starvin, Ursa Minor, write monologues for my vagina. My dreams are not too tall. It's TiVo that got small. Not me. Sean Ryan.
Ah, yes.
Write monologues for my vagina.
Yes, indeed. Someone has to. I'm still waiting.
All right. So beautiful, hilarious.
Thank you.
And stands up to this day.
I think that was the first song parody I wrote for my show, and I frequently, I was working there with Kelly Park because I was a guest star on that video on one of Sean Ryan's wonderful shows.
Right.
But I usually work with the lovely Scott Harlan, and when I wrote this, he said, for the rest of your life, I want you to end, I don't care what show you're doing, that's your encore. You know?
For the rest of your life.
Yes,
Barbara
as long
Streisand
as you
has
live.
people.
Exactly. I have peephole.
So next, leading up to the next clip I want to show, I want to talk about what a champion for gay equality you are.
Oh, well, yes,
I'm telling
indeed.
you are more political than my gay friends.
Well-
I get more notices from you, like, can you believe what they're trying to do? From
Because
you.
it's dumb. It's just dumb. There are so many things in life over which we have absolutely no control, none whatsoever. There is no reason in the world that two grown-up people who are in love should not legally have a life together. It's just insane. This is 2014, and there is nothing being said about, marriage equality, gay rights, that was not said 50, 100 years ago about people of color, that was not said 100 years ago about Jews, that was not said 150 years ago about Irish people. I mean, it's all the same BS, and it's just crazy. And there are enough examples, there's no reason that, the Kardashians should be allowed to get married every week, and somehow, or Donald Trump should somehow be able to pontificate about what matters to preserve the sanctity of marriage. It's insane. So I just feel that we're past the point where this should be an issue. And frankly, the lovely thing about, since I wrote this song, wrote this lyric, taking the wonderful music of the Sherman Brothers, it's really kind of over. I mean, the people who are still continuing to fight against the idea of gay marriage know it's over, and they're doing the loudest. It's like they're hanging.
That might be optimistic, but you're
Utah. You tell me 5 years ago that I know that the Supreme Court, they're still arguing it, but that gay marriage would have been legal in Utah in our lifetime. It's amazing. It's amazing, and it's wonderful. And by the way, I play gay marriages. I play gay weddings. And
so let's hear this song.
Okay.
Stupid, callous, homophobic, hateful legislation. Even though they wrap it up in laws to save our nation, how can it moral to condone discrimination, stupid, callous, homophobic, hateful legislation. I knew a lovely couple once named Benjamin and Lyle. The state of California stopped them marching down the aisle. Laws were passed as frightening as films by Roger Corman, thanks to millions funneled here by many a rich Mormon. Stupid, callous, homophobic, hateful legislation. Wedlock can't be limited to one orientation. It's the ones who outlaw love who suffer from damnation. Stupid, callous, homophobic, hateful legislation. Politicians fight for marriage, claiming gays will spoil it. Senators like Larry Craig, whose toes tapped in the toilet. Congressman Mark Foley, known for moralizing the rages, was so straight until they caught him trying to turn his pages. Fearful rumors demonstrate this right-wing desperation. Same-sex marriage is a choice, it's not an obligation. Doesn't mean that next we'll all elope with a Dalmatian. Stupid, callous, homophobic, hateful legislation.
Yay.
You know, just a couple of things about that. Oh, here we go. There they go. You see the fine production values there.
Yes,
you know,
indeed.
everyone involved with this donated their time and their effort. We had, you know, sort of a half hour,
Right.
like run into darling David Shine's house. He put a camera on it. We did it. We put it up on YouTube, and it started to go viral.
That sounds great.
And there one lovely gentleman in Belgium translated it into French
Oh, right.
and made another video. So I know people have gotten married to this song. And the other thing about that is quite honestly, until I met my husband, the man who is now my husband, I never thought I was going to get married. And I didn't think marriage really mattered. And as soon as I got married and I thought, this is different, and I really like this, and it's really wonderful, I did get a lot more radical on the topic. So I'm very proud of that one.
And nice to mention that today, the day we're filming,
Yes.
is the actual
16 years
anniversary.
ago, well, the day we met.
The day you met.
The day Brendan and I met at Cantor's Deli. It was a wonderful day.
So now, for the last several years, Shelly has been focused on a show she does called One Fine Day, The Groovy Girls of the 60s.
Yes.
And it is a very fun, very fast-paced look at the music of Carole King, Dusty Springfield.
Carole King, Dusty Springfield, Lauren Nero, Petula Clark, Mama Cass.
And it's more than just a
Carly
retrospective
Simon.
of that music. It's
Yeah.
Shelley's funny bent on political observations, man and woman observations,
Yes,
cultural mores observations.
It was ground zero for everything really interesting. It was a time.
Gabe, let's run some pictures here while Shelley talks.
I mean, we sort of start at the era of
It's all about the dresses, honey.
exactly. It's always about the dresses. Look at that dress. Isn't
Go
that
ahead,
fabulous?
Gabe.
And these fabulous pictures taken by Bradford Rogney, the best photographer. Call him if you need pictures. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, that's it for the pics. Go ahead,
Yes.
Shelley.
But, you know, I start with sort of very early Carole King when she was just writing with Jerry Goffin in the Brill Building, and Leslie Gore, who was, even though we remember her for songs like It's My Party and I'll Cry If I Want To, which is still kind of a 50s song, even though it was being done in the Kennedy era. She also did, you know, You Don't Know Me, which for 1963 was unbelievably feminist, around the same time Carole King and, you know, was doing Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow?
Right.
And that evolved into what was happening in the British invasion with Dusty Springfield, Petula Clark, those amazing, amazing women. I do Lulu, I do Cilla Black,
Right.
you know. yes, it's all about their dresses and their hair and those fabulous boots that were made for walking. We also do a little Nancy Sinatra. But it was such an amazing time to be a woman. These were all women who were so talented. They were so different. They each were just a very distinct color in an amazing prism, this rainbow prism of talent. And a lot of them, Dusty Springfield being a great example, were producing their own music but not getting credit for it because girls didn't do things like that. And it's just, I love that music. I love that era.
Right.
And it is such an absolute joy. And having taken it to London, and I've met people who've worked with Dusty, who've worked with Petula, who've worked with Scylla and Lulu, and and know stories about Mama Cass playing her last dates at the Palladium. It's wonderful, and to do the show right near Carnaby Street, because I have an entire section of the show that's sort of a blatant steal of the sort of thing Woody Allen did in Midnight in Paris. But for me, it's like I'm transported back to swinging London, and I'm, having my photograph taken naked with John Lennon, and I'm hanging out with Paul McCartney, and I'm with Mick Jagger and Marianne Faithfull, and it's just this wonderful fantasy of all those people.
I have a couple of clips I want to play of songs, once again, where you have reinvented lyrics for comic effect. Gabe, hit us.
This is one of those songs that I've borrowed and rewritten the words to. I dedicate it to all the baby boomers in the room, you Gen X and Gen Y, just bear with us here. Once the 60s were a vibrant bloom, a world ruled by the baby boom. Those teens are nearing Medicaid. That decade has now decayed. The middle aging of the age of Aquarius. Age is ensnaring us, dehairing us. It's scaring us. Once they smoke gongs in their basements, hippies now have hip replacements. Rocker guys like Mickey Dolenz now stick cameras up their colons. Acid reflux replaced acid. Drop Viagra when they're flaccid. The Rolling Stones have brittle bones. Soon McGann Keith will have no teeth. Once the doors sent parents into shock, Jim Morrison exposed his cock. The teens who worshipped at his hem now shield their kids from Eminem. The middle aging of the age of Aquarius. Age is nefarious. Air polluters once were bummers. Now they schlep their kids in Hummers. Sex and drugs and rock and rollers all are busy pushing strollers. Many have bifocals, wear 'em. Once danced nude to Procol Harum. McCartney's vamps now call him Gramps. And Stephen Stills drops liver pills. They bear it all. Now it's Geritol.
Oh dear, that outfit is like ABBA exploded,
Right, and I believe that MySpace is now your Twitter.
Yes,
handle.
exactly.
Right?
You follow me on Twitter at Groovy Shelly.
Groovy Shelly.
The other thing about that song that I think is that I've been doing it for so long, I don't do the Eminem reference anymore. It's now a reference about Kanye West. So we keep with what the kids are doing.
Right.
You know.
Pretty soon you'll have Gaga, somebody vomiting on Gaga.
Oh, no doubt.
Oh my goodness. Let's just do another song right away.
Oh, my God.
There's another cute one.
You're scaring me.
You'll recognize this song
Oh, my Lord.
from the canon of the great Carole King. When she wrote it, it was perfect. Perfect for her time, perfect for any time. Yet I slightly had my way with it. I rewrote the words. I dedicate it to you fine people, and I dedicate it to those women in Santa Monica. Looking down on my morning weights, everybody. But I feared I'd never be admired. And when 3 creme brulees were piled upon my plate, friends said I should get my jaw wired. Before my plastic surgeon, life was so unkind. Thank God that Dr. Cohen sucked the fat from my behind. He made me great. He made me thin. He turned me into an unnatural woman. It's all real. And when a wrinkle creased my upper brow, big one this time, Lord, I was determined to outfox it. A lunchtime date with Dr. Chang from Mindanao showed me that I could Botox it. My skin's now smooth as satin. All time he did a race. I'd show my joy to you if I could only move my face. Now you can see the unreal me. So thrilled to be an unnatural woman. Gave my silhouette the old heave-ho. Bought myself an Anglo-Saxon's nose. Once called Pinocchio. I won't stop till I'm wearing Michael Jackson's nose. Wrapped up and peeled, cap look congealed. I stand revealed and I'm built for seduction. Still under construction. Woo!
Shelly Goldstein!
There's Ryan Black. You can fade out of
Shelly Goldstein!
Lovely.
All right. So what were you saying, Shelley?
Well, one thing about that, I was hired to sing at the Writers Guild Christmas party one year. It was me, and I did that song, and the other band there was all of Carole King's musicians. And they were like, "Oh wow!" And I said, "You're not gonna she's not gonna yell at me," because no, she'd love it, you know. But just for the record, I don't just do parodies. I
No,
love
of
writing
course
them,
not.
and I love performing
But it is a
them.
special knack you have.
And it's fun. It's lots. I mean, I get to do my writing self and my performing self at the same time, because during the day I'm,
Yeah.
you know, a quiet, hardworking
And that is
writer.
And that is an interesting thing. I don't think we've said that on this podcast yet. That one of the main things I think you do professionally, like professionally that they send you money for, is writing award shows.
I write award shows. I write benefits.
A lot of very big ones.
I've written TV. I've written
you were
movies.
just with Mr. Clinton the other night.
I worked with Bill Clinton last month, which was amazing. What a fascinating man.
And
I've worked
my boyfriend Jerry Butler.
I've worked with Jared Butler, who was lovely.
And I know you're very friendly with Sharon Stone as well.
I've worked with Ms. Stone, who is
things.
Lovely and talented and lots of fun to work with. We just laugh when we work
together. And I
together.
remember I went to see you at the Magic Castle.
That was a great
show. And I
show.
sat at a table adjacent to a table in very close quarters with Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Oh, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who I went to
an
Northwestern with.
intimate of yours.
Yes, and I've written for Steve Martin. I've rewritten some of his movies.
Yeah.
I've written for Liza.
Right.
I've written for lots of I've been very lucky. I've met a lot of really fascinating people.
Right. I want to just take a minute to the reason why you were here before 6 months ago is
yes.
Our very close mutual friend, Mr. Rick Starr, who I have talked about a lot on this
Darling
podcast. Rick used to be the manager of Hollywood sheet music, and he is known by many of us as the patron saint of sheet music. If you ever needed anything obscure, Rick was always your man to find it, and he was a very uniquely dear soul. He was the friend to all.
The biggest heart.
And
it was amazing.
Rick is a source of a bond between Shelly and I that I will always cherish. When Rick first took ill, going on 3 or 4 years ago now, when Rick first took seriously ill, Shelly and I went to the hospital to visit him, and
several times. Yes.
And he went down so quickly. He got very bad off very quickly. So it was a very trying time, and we thought at one point that we would lose him very abruptly, and so we were rallying the troops to do one last event that while he was still alive and while he was still aware of it. And I got the stray hair in my bonnet to ask Shelly to write one of her special material lyrics for something to Rick. And I must say it was at one of Shelly's most busy times. Shelley's husband is from Ireland, and she commutes back and forth to London and Ireland, living with her husband. She works all over the country, particularly New York and LA, doing all these really high-end award shows, and she has her performing career. So New York, LA, Ireland, London, and I'm putting something else on her plate that has to be done in like 4 hours. And she said, yes, absolutely, anything for Rick.
I think in this video I'm wearing this dress, the same dress. And
I'm going to show the one from the most recent.
Oh, the most recent one, okay.
Yeah.
I just remember sitting down on a plane from New York, coming back, and I was like, I have to write something. And I sat, and I just remember literally hitting the chair, and I just went, I've got 36 auditions, and it all came from that.
Right. So it's an exceptionally brilliant lyric to capture an exceptionally wonderful man. And I've actually played the original, the very, very first time that Shelly sang it, when it was first written, fresh off the paint, on the show before, on September 30th, if anybody wants to look that up, or you can find it on YouTube as well. But recently, one of the ways we've honored Rick after his passing is we raised the money to have a plaque dedicated to him on the West Hollywood Memorial Walk, and it sits in front of Don't Tell Mama, the new Don't Tell Mama in West Hollywood, and it says, "To our beloved Rick, thank you for the music." And we had a little plaque dedication ceremony that Mark Shaman came and sang, and Andrea Marcovici and Corky Hale, and this is Shelly's performance from that. You know, there's a funny dynamic with somebody who was as popular as Rick, that, you know, over the course of time, he literally knew thousands of people. I was one of the people that received his address books and his notebooks of the phone numbers for that he called everybody with "You Opened on Broadway in 1927" in this show, you know? And he knew thousands and thousands of people. But when it's come time to memorialize him, I was very close to Rick, and I knew who was really around him. So it's very important to me to see the faces that are here today, because we're the people that went to the hospital with him, we're the people who visited him, we're the people who went to Taco Bell with him when we didn't want to, and it's very special to see everybody that's here today. So thank you very much for that. When Rick first turned ill, and it really looked like we were going to lose him about 3 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago, his most fervent wish was to do a little salon production in tribute to Hugh Martin. And so we pulled it together, and he would lay in that that glass tube receiving barium treatments. Is that what it's called?
MRI thing?
Yeah, like hydrobolic chamber. That's it, hydrobolic chamber. And he would like say, and Joanne Tatham has to sing the Calypso song, you know? And we threw together this beautiful, beautiful night. And on the occasion of that night, I mentioned to my friend Shelly Goldstein, "You who are so brilliant at writing parodies, will you do something for our Lyft?" And in the middle of 9 jobs that she was doing back and forth with Ireland and England and New York, on about 2 days' notice, she wrote this brilliant lyric. So please welcome to the stage, Shelly Goldstein.
Thank you.
I always love performing with Shelly. 2 Shellys in a row. Oh, Rick, I loved you so much. Happy birthday. Listen, I got 36 auditions. Mamma Mia to Evita. Kristen Chenoweth is there, and I swear this time I'll beat her. I'm facing producers with faces as soft as a brick. But I'm not concerned, because the song that I learned came from Rick. Did the trick. 'Cause he's the great Rick Star. Sheet music czar. We all believed it when you gotta find a song that's out of print. Sondheim wrote it in the playpen. Can't cost a mint. Look how cheap he sold it. He will retrieve it. If you must sing, now here's the thing. It's Rick, performer's best pal. Pal to each guy and gal who sings for a living. He's got songs you never heard. No one else as wiser as giving. He gives, he gives, he gives. If it's Gershwin that you want, he's a giant font of knowledge. Sing. This was the thing. Rick, I gotta play a Polish wedding. He had the song always right, never wrong. He had connections. Wait, there's even more. At the theater, something sweeter was the treat you'd greet from Hollywood sheet. Made your opening complete. In cabaret, near or far, only one Rick star who saw each show that's in town, who never showed you a frown, who cheered when most went thumbs down. With his help, stardom's a cinch. Hal Prince will call in a pinch. I'll get partsmen for Jane Lynch. I bought all Rick said to get, which tells you why I'm in debt. Hey, Rick Star, you're by sand, singing Streisand. I could do, I'll always say once more, 'cause Rick had a score. In Cabaret, Nero Fuller, still the greatest, great Rick Star. We love you, Rick.
Shelly Goldstein.
Oh, Shelly still checks me up.
That was intimidating.
Still
You know,
checks me up.
it's just, you thought about Rick, you wanted it to be perfect, and I had never had the honor of meeting Mark Shaman, who was sitting right in the front,
right,
literally
2 feet
under my
from you.
chin.
Yeah, and loving it.
And well, when I started singing it, I have to be honest. When oh, someone's going to sing a parody. Oh, good. And he had this look on his face, like I have to look like someone's
Right.
going to be singing a parody. And then I could see him sort of out of my periphery, and he was sort of, yeah, okay. And he came up to me when it was over, and he said, "I have to tell you, I can't stand people who write parodies." He goes, "They're so horrible." And he goes, "This was really good." He goes, you did a really good job." He goes, "You understood the song. You really wrote." And that's the fun of
Yeah.
writing it. It's like a crossword puzzle. You have to, you can't squeeze 8 letters into a 7-word
Right.
box,
Well, you
and-
can't get a better compliment than
And
from
yeah,
Mark
because
Shaman.
nobody is better than Mark
Yeah.
Shaman. So I was quite pleased, and I just, again, it was inspired by dear Rick. So I'm glad that he heard it before he passed on.
So you've had a lot of success with your One Fine Day show. You've
I have.
toured all over the place, played Catalina's
That was a great
earlier
night.
in the year.
Wonderful night.
Last
Yeah.
year, yes. And London. You played London a few times, but just
Yes.
recently that new Groovy place.
Yes, first I did a
I can't say the name. I'll
I'll
blush.
say it. I did a residency at Sergio's in the West End, which was a famous 70s cabaret
Uh-huh.
that the great Diana Dors had played at many times, and apparently she was dating a gangster who owned the place, and he got mad at her once, and she escaped through the window. But the new hot place in London is a lovely place right in Piccadilly Circus called Le Crazy Coqs, COQS,
Right.
as in Roosta, and
As in Roosta.
run by a lovely woman, Ruth Leon, and a big fan of cabaret. And she's bringing over so many Americans.
Yeah,
so many
it's a hot
Americans
new
are
place.
playing there.
Everybody's going.
Yeah, and it's a gorgeous room, gorgeous Art Deco room, wonderful place to play. Couldn't be easier. Because that's a town that actually has public transportation. You're literally 20 steps from the main, tube subway line. Everybody's going there, and it was an absolute joy to play there. And I've been invited back. I'm not exactly sure when I'm going back, but I can't wait. And London audiences are fantastic to play for.
So let me tell you, we are almost done, which is just heartbreaking to me. I can't believe how quickly these things go. And I wanted to end with this last clip that I mentioned to you. We're Facebook friends in addition to real life friends, and it's always fun to read your Facebook because you're always very politically jovial and all of that. But also you post quite a few remembrances of your mother, which are always very touching and very sweet. And so that's why I wanted to end this way. So
I think I know what this is going to be.
yeah, and it's not a parody.
It's not a parody. It's a
It's
real
a real
song.
live song. Is there
Yes.
anything you'd like to say? in
It's
advance of it?
from Minnie's Boys. It was written by Hal Hackaday and Larry Grossman. My mother used to love when I sang this song to her. When she was in the emergency room, I would sing it to her. I would sing it to her in shows. This video was the last time she saw me do a show, and she was starting chemo the next morning, and it was very, very emotional knowing that she was starting treatment the next morning, and she was just the coolest, most amazing, wonderful. There was this sort of half Auntie Mame, half, if you've ever seen the movie Garbo Talks or 84 Charing Cross Road, and Anne Bancroft played a character very similar to my mother, just funny, smart, political, Jewish, would feed you. Feed you love, feed you food.
All right, Gabe, hit us.
And there is a special person in the audience I would like to dedicate it to. This is that lovely lady over there with the big hat on. What do you give to the lady who has given all her life and love to you? What do you give to the reason that you're living? I could window shop the world before I'm through. Mama, a rainbow, Mama, a sunrise, Mama, the moon to wear. That's not good enough, no, not good enough, not for Mama. Mama, a palace, diamonds like doorknobs, mountains of gold to spare. That's not rich enough, no, not rich enough, not for Mama. Mama, a lifetime crowded with laughter. That's not long enough, not half long enough. What can I give you that I can give you? What will your present be? Mama, young and beautiful, always young and beautiful. That's Mama, I'll always see. That's for Mama, with love from me.
I miss her. She was a great
Well,
lady.
When all is said and done, this is a show about cabaret, and I thought that was the best way to go out. So, Shelly, thank you so much for being my guest.
Thank you, Clifford. A pleasure to be on your show. I hope that one fine day Groovy Girls of the 60s will be playing again very soon in your town, wherever that may
coming
be.
to you.
Coming to you soon. And if you're on Twitter, follow me at Groovy Shelly.
Groovy Shelly.
And just thank you. This is a lovely opportunity, and I appreciate it.
Thank you for being here. Got a few people to thank. My landlord here at the Global Voice Broadcasting, Mr. Todd Murray, and my associate producer in absentia, Trisha Trippett, and the operations manager here at Global Voice Broadcasting, and my in-studio engineer, Mr. Gabe Harder. Woo, 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 woo. See you next week.
And so it seems that we have met before and laughed before.